as well. Do you want to chat a little bit about Copilot? Yeah. Do you want me to leave my laptop or you?
That's all right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So Zen clap if you've used Copilot, 1, 2, 3. Zen clap if you haven't used Copilot, 1, 2, 3. No worries. Microsoft Copilot is now integrated across all the Microsoft products. There are different stages of use, and as the student was saying, the university has given access to students. Technically, we haven't. It's just been embedded by Microsoft within. The university is working on a project with KPMG, where KPMG have paid for us to have premium licenses. So this gives you more advanced features. Who has used ChatGPT? Zenclap 1, 2, 3. Slightly less people. I stayed away from it just as well because the US government has now bought it. So anyone who's used it, your data now belongs to the US government. Did you know that? What I'm saying about people's mental health, the US government now have all the details about people's mental health and all the inquiries that they've got. They will be able to search through it and be able to see if someone's got a bit off to the side and is planning to do some kind of terrorist attack. That's where we are at the moment.
So it's no longer owned by Microsoft.
No, it was OpenAI.
Never owned by.
That's a different product, different company. And it was called OpenAI.
That they absolutely should not be putting any student work, or indeed anything of their own, but that's their problem. But any student work into ChatGPT or anything other than Copilot. It's really important. You don't know where it's gone.
Log it on and think.
It's just you can't control where it's gone, and you don't own.
Just get it.
Yeah. Right people.
That's okay. Yeah.
It's a message that we really need to get out to staff using stuff.
Don't put that one. Then scroll down.
Bear with us. So, as you're hearing already, there's a bit of more didn't know that about AI. It's rapidly changing. We can't expect academic staff to be constantly checking to see this. And that might happen for a specific reason. Thank you all. I wear this hat for a number of different reasons. Yellow is my favourite colour. But also, I got this hat in Panama. It's an Ecuadorian hat. These are not Panama hats. So that's a little bit of learning for everyone. And the reason I got it was I was part of a project that was looking at teaching Brazilian and Nicaraguan academics and students about weight electrical and electronic equipment recycling. That was the first time I really worried about sustainability, when I saw that people were taking power cables, stripping them back, reusing them. They had to, because it was what they did to make money. Bring it forward to AI. The power consumption to generate requests has to be accounted for somewhere. So I have been cautious about when I've used AI. What we are involved here with the pilot project is about 100 staff who are able to have a look and have a play. So me, from a sustainability point of view, I'm not just going to be in there making pictures of cats. I've got 5 cats myself. I make brilliant pictures of cats. But I don't need to use AI for that kind of creative, fun stuff. I wanted to basically work on something that was going to be practical and impactful for my day job. And as part of that, ZenCap, if you've heard of agents, 1, 2, 3. If you haven't heard of agents, clap now. Okay. So an agent is like a bit like a chatbot. You can ask the questions. You can put specific details in there and you can get it to do specific tasks. You might say, every Monday at 2 o'clock, give me a picture of a cat, a circle. And it will do that, do an automated task. So as part of this project, we have created what I've dubbed the agency. It's where people can share, people can share the different agents they've created. whether it's something to give you recipes, you know, what I'm going to eat out of my fridge today, that's not going into my load. So the idea was to try and bring together things such as this. We have a lot of module specifications, and there were thousands of them. And I know there's thousands because I had to go through them and change one link from the policy update every day. Yeah, just click on add there. So this agent can now search through all of those documents, and if I say who is doing podcasts and assessment, it will tell me. It will tell me the weighting, it will tell me the learning outcome. Did you see what Rob just did there? So I went to the agency, I clicked on one link, came up, Rob added it. We are there. This is the agent live. So if I type in SPO 1052, Ready Player One is a module I used to teach. Giving it nothing else. Let's see what it comes up with. It's now actually telling me all the details from within that module. That's now saved me from clicking on the SharePoint area, navigating 5 folders down, searching through that list, download that document if I don't want to view it online, and then have a look. This is where agencies, for me, are changing and transforming what we can do. Our access to information that we've got within the estate of the university, but getting to that information quickly. So that is just a demo of an agent. So, send clap if you know what an agent does. 1, 2, 3. Brilliant. This is why I see this as something that can transform the way that all of our staff can deal with this. Not just creating pictures of cats. Yes, that's fun, but for some people, that's all they're seeing AI content online. This, for me, goes back to that culture change. Zen clap if you've heard me talking about caves. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Zen clap if you haven't. No problem at all. That's fine. Cave is a term. Colleagues against virtually everything. Right. You laughed in your head. You probably know someone. Yeah. No, that's fine. Or you've experienced. It comes from citizens against virtually everything. Have you heard of the acronym NIMBY? Zen clap if you haven't. I can't assume prior knowledge. Thank you ever so much. UDL, Universal Design for Learning in Practice here. I could have been talking about NIMBYs and you would have been lost. Not in my backyard. It's a resistance thing. It's a way of saying, I don't want that in my backyard. I could have been an NIMBY because I had a beautiful field on the back and they built a housing estate on it. I loved it because the archaeologists came in and they found like a 5th or 6th century platform that runs into my back garden and a buried person over where the pastries were. So I'm well into it from that point of view. But the idea of the cave, the colleague, virtually everything. I said about the fact that I was working in the old business school. I would do staff inductions for the new computers. I met a guy who had his mouse. He said the mouse ball isn't working. As he was scrolling on the screen, he thought he had to get the mouse ball over the arrow. So I had to work with that member of staff. Not all colleagues against virtually everything. Not every cave is going to be someone who is absolutely resistant. It might be that they didn't have the prior knowledge. They didn't know that you should do it anyway differently. And that's when I started to think about a thing called, it's a term called sitting next to Nellie. And the idea is that in training, you would sit someone down with someone else and you would say, Nellie will teach you everything she knows for you to do your job. Okay? Yeah, you're going to be Nellie. Teach me everything you know about NIMBYs.
Okay, that's an acronym that stands for Not in My Backyard. It's about resisting some activities or initiatives happening and you're a important student.
New knowledge you've just learned over there. I could then ask you something else, but you will be able to tell me because it's only to the ceiling of your knowledge. When we look at sitting next to Nellie, if we're looking at AI, we are dependent on peer learning. If we've got someone who is resistant to using AI in this way for efficiency, then they're going to spread that misinformation, that distrust to their colleagues. The way that I'm trying to work with this is to spin it differently. So that this is the efficiency. This is how easy it is. Look, have you considered this? And actually, we can work with champions. And as part of KPMG, we've got a champions network. They are people who are then able to go in and say, oh, we do a lot of reports on these spreadsheets, but we're not data scientists. But we don't need to be because we can use Copilot to do it. It's back to the old tools. Why should I bother to move to Bronze Age tools when I've got flint? Why should I bother changing my behaviour? Why should I bother to change? If I take this forward, I'm speaking to colleagues, if I'm experiencing caves, how am I going to get them to engage with all the Jisc beyond blended resources? Send them a link. Go and study it for yourself. It's time poor. They're not going to do it. So I started to think, well, actually, what about having an agent that is based on the Jisc framework? So bear with me. I'll just, is it all right to install the? Okay. So on the pilot, I said there's 100 licenses. While I'm here, ZenClap, if you have used Microsoft Whiteboard before, ZenClap 1, 2, 3. So if I send this link to people, they've never experienced it, they're starting to do what's called a brain fake. I'm not going to teach you about Whiteboard. I'm going to teach you about a task, and along the way, you're going to develop those skills. You're going to see, oh, Whiteboard, oh, that's like mirroring. Yeah, but we don't have to pay for it. It's already paid for. What? So we don't have to pay for the mirror? Yeah. Could we save money? Yeah. Could we get rid of Copilots? Yeah. I didn't know that until KPMG had a sign that said Whiteboard. I thought, what the flip is that? And then started to look into it. Now we've got this agency, we can go in and start having a look. Where is just beyond blended? So this is a way of, instead of saying, let's come to a workshop and I'll talk you through the beyond blended, this could be a sit down. What is your need today? What is the intervention? What is it you're focused on? And I put in, well, I can do audience participation, but it's getting close to lunch. I'm doing a debate on learning styles. What should I consider? ZenClap, if you believe in learning styles, 1, 2, 3. Right, perfect. But if I put this in here, this is going to look through the beyond blended resources on my behalf. And it's going to start coming up with some suggestions based on that. What things should I consider when doing the debate? It's a bit slow, it's got a lot of resources to go through. As part of the action learning set, I demoed this. We have a recording of it and I wanted to be able to share it to people. Now the thing with this at the moment, we can't share it. The pilot may come to an end and we realise that because of the financial situation, we cannot afford to do this. But the concept is there. Not concept of the plan, concept of the action. So things such as debate topics, challenge the evidence, ask for peer-reviewed studies that show learning styles improve outcomes. Spoiler, they don't. Copilot must have learned. Microsoft finally realised this guy who's sending 1,000 emails a day about learning styles don't exist, but learning styles are an inherent bias because there was so much published on learning styles. It's all in the data set. When we went through at the action learning step, it actually came out and said, remember to consider different people's learning styles. No, right, okay. So I have to go back and from that action learning set, that's given me an opportunity to take the feedback and know how to enhance this So I can emphasise to people that this is built with specific ideas. If I include universal design for learning, it will then go into the details. You know, promote inclusive design, argue for UDL and differentiated instruction as more effective and equitable. That's guidance for someone, and if that case says, I don't know what that means, that's where we are sitting next to Nellie. Or from a university point of view, from the university strategy point of view, this is what that means. Let's make that make sense for you in your context. I think there's a worry that we spend too much time expecting our staff to know all these things. They've read all the strategies. We don't do that in the classrooms. Differentiation in the classrooms, we all come from different experiences, different backgrounds, different perceptions, different times, different places, all of those pillars. But at this particular time, I'm tired. I've just come off a late night shift. I've just had all these other reasons why I can't engage with this. So having an agent that supports learning design using these Jisc frameworks, it can be done remotely. It can be done as a facilitated online session. It can be done in place session. But we're thinking about all of the principles that we put in our strategies and making sure that they are embedded into guidance and support, but with a critical lens, so that we know we can say, if it's coming up with learning styles and my own learning styles aren't right, I shouldn't just take what it said verbatim. So that's where we are at the moment. I won't go into too much more because we want to have a little bit more time to have one, because half an hour for lunch might not be enough. But there you go. Clearly within the material that Sheila has produced, that Helen has produced, this message, this theme must be there, because this is not looking at anything else other than those resources. So that's one of the aspects for this, allowing us to challenge the way the students and our staff think about things such as their own learning. How do we go about that? How do we make sense of these wonderful resources that we don't know which is the right one? But it starts around a theme, a topic, an issue, and then allow the bot to make those decisions, and then use the references if we want to dive deeper. We'll stop at that point. Hope that's good. Zen clap if you want a copy of this. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was a weak one for lunch. Right. So next step is
Next step is on site. So, get some fresh air. Thank you for the introduction. Lunch. Yeah, and then we'll still have at the same time. We can't do
this your strategy one.
Yeah, so feedback from that as well. That would be great.
Yeah.